Nobody honestly thought the prayer beads were going to work, right? That would make this series a lot less entertaining going forward. But yeah, it's my thoughts on episode 3 of Mieruko-chan, so let's jump right into it. Yeah, opening up this episode, we have Miko is going to be going somewhere with Hana, and so she gets on a bus, and yeah, it turns out this bus is haunted. I actually thought they were going to do the ghost bus thing, where they essentially have a bus that takes on ghosts and they go into the afterlife. So I thought they were going to do something like that. I'm like, well, no, there's other living people in there. And then they disappeared. I'm like, oh yeah, they're doing it. And then they came back and I'm like, okay, never mind. I guess they're not going to do the ghost bus thing. Ghost bus thing. I keep wanting to say ghost bust, but yeah. So yeah, there's a like a Gyaru ghost in there somewhere. Keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. And eventually gets up next to her and she calls the bus to stop because her stop's coming up. And I was wondering what she was doing, but no, she was literally trying to get the ghost to think that she was getting off right there. So the ghost gets off and then she stays on. So the ghost gets left behind. But yeah, they meet at, what was it? Steebucks, I think. But yeah, there's a guy that comes in. He's talking all nice to some girl on the phone. And there's this other girl, this ghost following him and talking about how much it loves him. And I mean, really quickly kind of get an idea that this guy probably uses a bunch of girls and this ghost is like a vengeful spirit of somebody that he used. Yeah, as she's, trying to not notice this ghost, the guy thinks that she's looking at him, so he starts to kind of charm at her. And yeah, the ghost notices that, so the ghost gets jealous of Miko. And this is interesting because it was like, the ghost was, at first glance, the ghost was angry at Miko because she obviously was obsessed with this guy. And so it was going after Miko, and then at some point, Miko brings up on her phone this, like, wrestling match, like these macho guys fighting. The thing looks over at the dude and looks back at the phone, and she's like, oh, yeah, I really like my macho guys. And the ghost says something like, okay, she's safe. And it was weird because I was torn in my thought process here because, yes, at face glance, it seems like it's a vengeful ghost that's jealous of anybody that looks at this boy. And so it was going after Miko because she believed that this guy was going to get with Miko. But then when it said she's safe, I'm not sure if it insinuates, I don't know, I have to like look at the original statement and maybe see if I can get another translation of it. Maybe it was it seems like it could have either been, she says Miko is safe from him because she likes macho guys, and she's acknowledging that he's not safe. Or if it was saying she's safe, like, well, I can trust this girl around him because she doesn't care about him. Like, she's a safe person to be around this person I'm in love with because I won't have to worry about her not being safe and taking him. So, I don't know, like I said, my brain went in two different directions with that. But Hana finally shows up and Miko goes to her and this guy's like, hey, man, you want my number? Like, right when this girl's coming in to see him. Obviously, again, this guy's a cheat. But she's like, no, I don't know who this guy is. I know I don't care to give you my number, and walks away. And sure enough, this girl that he's been talking on the phone arrives there, and she has ghosts behind her too. So yeah, she says like something about, birds of a feather flock together kind of thing. Like they're two peas in a pod. They're definitely both cheating on other people, and so perfect for each other. Following this, they go to the store they plan on going to together, which was to go get Miko a bunch of beads. And she wants to buy a whole bunch of berries. They're like really expensive, but she wants like 4 on her wrist to get rid of the ghost. And yeah, it doesn't quite work out. She gets 4 of these, talks to Hana for a little bit about, trying to disguise the fact that she's wearing the prayer beads, saying it's a trend that's coming. And so Hana's like, well, maybe I should get them. And immediately Miko remembers like all these ghosts that like wrap themselves around Hana. She's like, oh yeah, you can have 2 of them. And they decide to go down the alleyway in order to get to some strawberry buns. I don't know. I think I've heard of those before, but they made some weird comment later on saying they taste just like butt. And it's like, what? What is Hana saying here? But yeah, this alleyway is just full of monsters. And this is where we get the indication that, oh, hey, these prayer beads technically do work. But there's one big ghost that was in the alleyway, and Miko's beads broke. And we don't find out until later why Hana was able to walk through there. But yeah, the very powerful ghosts. Apparently these beads are useless. And they have this whole funny moment where she keeps trying to fight the fear of this thing in front of her that she needs to get past. But she knows if she doesn't get past, Hana's going to come to her. And so she keeps like, okay, no, I'll walk through it. She walks through it. And then Hana realizes she dropped her bunny. Okay, well, I'll get it. And then Miko's like, no, I'll get it. And she grabs it. Then she's like, oh, what? Well, we need to go back to that place because you're prayer beads. And she's like, no, it's okay. She does not want Hana to walk through this thing. But yeah, that ends up them going to get the buns, they eat them, and then Hana says she has another place she knows where she can get prayer beads, and it's this godmother of the downtown. It's this old lady that has a fortune-telling setup. She has prayer beads, and they go there to see if they can buy one, and so she's like, I'll just give it. It kind of indicates that this lady has a daughter that would want to take care of her because she's old. Apparently, Julia was trying to go meet her, the girl with the weird hair. I'm assuming she wanted to meet her because she's known to have these great abilities for prayer beads and stuff. But Miko and Hana come there, and yeah, sure enough, she's like, I'll just get it. I'll get it like a 3,000 yen piece of junk breed beads. They don't have money. And she gives it that to the kids, like, despite me being a scammer, I still want to help them out. I wouldn't be a godmother if I wasn't taking care of these children. They're like the same age as my grandchildren. And sure enough, she gives them the beads, and it immediately breaks because this thing's still behind Miko. So she goes into this thing and grabs this box and brings it out and breaks it and gives her these special beads that are super powerful. Still breaks. Slow motion to the old lady. But it was interesting because during this entire exchange, she's noting the fact that Miko can see them. She knows she can. Of course, Miko keeps denying every time. She's like, can you? No. Are you sure? No. But she also acknowledges that Hana has an aura about her, like a very bright aura. And specifically noting that it's a thing that will cause many to come to her. Like, it's implying here at this point that the reason why there's so many ghosts around is because Hana is luring them in. Now, he does note that because of that aura, she won't be harmed. Like, Hana will never be harmed because of this aura. But it implies that Miko's going through all this crap because Hana is drawing spirits into her. So, not a good thing. But it was cute because along with all this exchange, it's really kind of hitting on this old lady, being a scammer, that she scammed lots of people. She's technically a scammer, but she's also helping people. Like, she had this lady all excited because the beads that she gave her were causing these guys to hit on her. And so she was recharging it. So she wasn't technically scamming, maybe scamming by charging a bunch for it, but she was technically helping her. But she's noting the idea that she's no longer going to be a scammer. Like, she wants to help people. And even though she is scamming, it seems like after this ordeal, she's turned off over new leaf. She doesn't want to do this stuff anymore. So she shuts down the shop and she goes back to her daughter and goes to live with them. Says that she turned a new leaf and that she's doing something else. So I'm sure we'll see more of her, just not as a scammer in a shop. But yeah, overall, cute episode as always. Really enjoy it. A lot of laughs here and just these very weird situations with especially kind of noting the fact that prayer beads aren't as special as you think. Like I said, I don't really necessarily think that they were going to go that route just because when she was going down that alleyway, having them just kind of fling, it's like, well, that just makes the rest of the show easy. There's no point to it. Kind of expected eventually they would have them break. But really getting an insight into Hana being special in some way is kind of curious. And additionally, Julia is still in the background. I'm guessing in the next episode we'll probably get Julia joining the group. But the old lady really specifically mentioning that her eyes were open to something does make me question, was it because of what she's seen in Hana? Or if it's just more the idea that no matter what she does, there's this threat and she wants to help people. Like, despite her wanting to be a scammer to make money and not be a burden upon her family, she does realize that there are important things to protect, and that's why she's going so far out of her way in order to help Miko, who is not going to pay her. She still wants to be this godmother of the downtown, or godmother. But yeah, great episode as always. Still enjoying this show so much, but that's my thoughts on episode 3 of Mieruko-chan. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. There's also a tip button in the description where you can support us directly. And I thank you all for watching, and y'all take care.